Okay, photography students, I am going to be, I guess, a guest teacher today. Some of you might recognize my name and maybe my voice if you've had me for biology class. Um, I'm sorry I don't have a picture of myself, but it was not the right time to do a video, so I'm going to do a voiceover of this. So I do photography mostly as a hobby, and I'm a science teacher, so that kind of flows into what I do in addition to taking pictures of my kids and other things in nature. Um, I kind of also like to look at science and how that works with photography. So, just to give you a very basic overview, Mrs. Conrad asked me to talk a little bit about surface tension and being able to photograph and show the idea of surface tension and water droplets as they relate and can make an image in being artistic and um, sometimes abstract with that type of photography. So we kind of have to remember that a little bit about water. So you guys all know that water is H2O. But what you might not know or remember, or hopefully you do if you've had this before, is that water, oxygen, and hydrogen don't share their electrons equally. So if we look at this little picture here of the water molecule, it clings to other water molecules because the oxygen has a slightly negative part to it and hydrogen has a slightly positive. So you guys know opposites attract. So that's how water forms droplets, and we call that surface tension or cohesion. Water sticking to itself is cohesion. Now, adhesion is when water is sticking to other things, and I think I have a couple examples of that as well that I'm going to show. So for the most part, I'm going to just go through images of mine that show surface tension, cohesion, adhesion, but I also thought about it. That is caused by the way that water bonds with itself, but also crystallization and taking pictures of snowflakes and frozen water is something also that I enjoy doing. So that's also related to this idea of hydrogen bonding in the water molecule. So, enough of the nerdy stuff. I will move on to some images that I've taken. Some of these I've taken more recently, some of them it's been a couple years, but I'll kind of go through like what you're seeing in that image. Images that I've taken over the last few years to kind of show some things with water photography and surface tension and all that stuff in there. So I apologize if there's duplicates. I kind of just downloaded them quickly and put them into a slideshow. Okay. So in this one with the spider web, I actually let you in on a secret. I sprayed the spider web. You could see cohesion and adhesion. I like to do underwater photography. I don't see too much with cohesion or adhesion in this one, but I like to use the GoPro for some underwater photography. In this image, you could see a lot of droplets together and movement and surface tension, and I could kind of see the joy in the image. Whereas contrast with this one, you can use tears as a good example of surface tension for a different sort of feel to the image. This one, another underwater one, I like that you could see the movement in that and the black and white conversion. This was taken outside on a very cold day, making a bubble mix. You'll have to look that up online, a cornstarch, and it freezes and you get that kind of crystallized image. I like to do close ups of snowflakes. It's kind of like a hobby of mine. So that shows the hydrogen bonding. This was just wheatgrass in my house with the window sunlight hitting that water droplet that forms on the top of them. This is one of my favorite snowflake images that I was able to get that mirrored appearance, a very crisp image of that. This, I think, is just some water droplets sprayed on a lettuce leaf. So you can see the cohesion there. This shows the droplets. For a lot of these, you need like a fast shutter speed if you're using a DSLR camera, but you'll just have to experiment with your cell phone cameras. I think bubbles are another good example of variation of surface tension. Okay, this one isn't very much a typical, but I like that you could see the duckweed on the surface, and that kind of shows surface tension as well. This one is more kind of adhesion, and this one I was taken on a day that I lost a family member, like my uncle died. I just remember that from that. And then this one shows the collection of the water together before it gets spilled on him. No particular order to these images. A ladybug here with water droplets on it kind of makes an interesting image, I think. My kids love to do this little Mentos experiment, and I like that you can see the surface tension in the soda when it explodes or goes up the tube here. So that's a kind of a pastime of theirs to do. We do a few of those throughout the year just for fun. This was another example of shooting water droplets at different depths of field and seeing the droplets. Same thing here. Kids with in a water fight. So I kind of just picked up all the different images that I have that had some interesting water aspects. This one I remember taking right when quarantine started and just showing the spheres inside of my little portable greenhouse when I brought the plants home. Another snowflake image. I take these usually if I could see from the texture that's taken on the surface of my garbage can, so I don't have to lean down or anything. This is my youngest. He loves to play in the puddles, so I like to take him out there and try to get some good surface tension. This is a repeat, I think. Like I said, I did not look through, but it doesn't hurt, I guess, to look at some things again. This is a different one than I showed before, but same thing. Wheat grass just from the window light. Maybe enhanced a little bit in Photoshop with the flares. Oops, again, sorry about that. One of my favorites, though, so. This is more of an adhesion, and I also liked it because it showed the reflection. I think I took this just with my cell phone out at a restaurant a while ago. More water play. Just fun to kind of see the shapes that water takes on when it's sticking to itself. This one I kind of like because it shows like the movement and like the it does show surface tension. You have to push through it. You can kind of feel that in that image. This is interesting. I never knew flies do this. I think they do it to regulate their body temperature, but they blow bubbles. And I've seen them do that when it's really warm and really cold. And here's that other image again, like I was saying that I took that with when my uncle died. I just remember taking that. It's been a few years now. Oh, I don't know why these are all repeating. I'm sorry. I might try to cut them out. This is just water reflecting and making a little rainbow on a violet surface. I like the contrast sometimes that you can use with water. Contrast and water reflection. This is just a blade of grass outside with dew. Again, I usually spray, especially if it's, yeah, so these were sprayed just with a water bottle, and you could see the depth of field. A lot of times I do this in the spring. This one I think I took at school, so I think I could see the reflection in there of the greenhouse. I like to play with water droplets. These need really fast shutter speeds and usually a lot of light, but you can play around with them. I like how you can see reflections in water droplets, like if this sunflower, I think this was a fake sunflower, but it was really reflecting behind it. This was just some sort of picture that I put behind it to kind of get that color in there for these. Just having fun with playing with the water droplets. Again, fast shutter speed. This is a picture of it, just a picture of an eye behind the image to get that reflection. I really had fun with making that one. And then these are just some general water droplet ones. Just love the different shapes and colors you can get reflected in the water droplets. I have not played with water droplets in a couple years of these like water droplet abstract images, but they're, like I said, really fun to play with. This was a good example of surface tension, how things can stay on the surface that I was playing with. Another spiderweb image. Again, I probably sprayed that to kind of get that dewy look to it. This was a picture in the spring of a violet leaf. I don't think I sprayed that one. And so just kind of see the pretty textures and colors. This is a snowflake on my son's red hair. I love the contrast that was there. Another spider web with a spider this time. You don't want to spray it too much. You just want to get a really mist. And the spider, he sometimes gets bothered by it, but he usually comes right back if he does bother by it. I try not to hurt the spiders. This is adding some texture to an image in Photoshop, but the actual tulip with the water on it was what it was found. So that's that. Those are my images, and I hope that you have fun making your images, and I can't wait to see them myself.